listeners. Welcome to Plano's Political Pitbull Podcast. I am Esther.
And I'm Ruth.
And today's show, we will be talking about an economic development deal, a bad bill of the week again, and comments of public interests have finally been decided to Plano City Council. You'll have to wait to see the results. All right, first up, economic development. So on March 4th, 2025, City Council passed another economic development deal. They're on a roll. And I have a feeling that KFC is still to come. But we'll get back to you on that. So this economic development agreement was between Plano City and Sally Holdings LLC, headquartered in Denton, and they sell supplies and equipment for beauty parlors. They also provide beauty products for hair, skin, and nails. And they are worldwide. Now, little interesting problem I had. Normally, when these deals come up, obviously I look at the agreement and I see the company, and obviously the agreement doesn't tell me anything about the company, so I have to go and do some Googling or Yahooing or whatever service engine I prefer on that day, and I couldn't find anything on Sally Holdings LLC. Every time I put it into a search engine, it came up Sally Beauty Holdings Inc., which is the parent company of Sally Holdings LLC. I couldn't find, the only thing I could find on Sally Holdings was their headquarters, where they have registered their company. They're registered in Delaware, but their headquarters are in Denton. That was it. Couldn't find anything else. Everything else that came up was for Sally Beauty Holdings, Inc., which is the parent company. So I don't know what Sally Holdings is worth, but I know what their parent company is worth. So I'm afraid we'll just have to go straight into the parent company. But before I do that, let me tell you about the deal. So, Sally Holdings LLC will be getting $2,525,000 to rent and occupy a minimum office space of 110,000 square feet, so a large office, at 7,900 Windrose Avenue, Plano, so Legacy West.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. They will also, for this money, they also have to transfer, create, or retain. They don't have to create. They can create, but they have to create, transfer, or retain employees. 750 full-time employees, to be exact, by, I'll get a load of this, December 31st, 2036.
Wow, okay.
What year are we in?
2025.
So how many years do they get?
11 years.
11 years they have to fill all these jobs. So I'm taking a wild guess that they're not going to transfer all of the jobs from wherever these folks are coming from. I'm going to take a wild leap here and say that, yes, some of these jobs will be new.
Why
I don't know if they're
11?
all going to be coming from Denton. I don't know if this is going to be a new headquarters. See, this said nothing in the agreement on that.
Wait, it's a little sidetrack, but why 11? Why not round it to 10? Like, why is it such a weird number as 11?
Why is it more than 1 or 5?
I'm just saying it's a weird number to choose.
It is a weird number to choose. You're right. It's not an even number. You'd think they'd go with a nice round number, but there's a reason. Again, agreement did not say. This leaves 42,790,743. Is that a 3? I can't read my own handwriting.
Let me see.
Is that a 3? I believe that's a 3. Over 42 million, we'll just round it.
It could be a 3 or an 8. What did you do?
It was writing fast. Left in the Economic Development Fund. The way they're doing these jobs is very interesting. I've never quite seen this. This is a new one. So they're going to get this money in stages. They're not getting it all at once. That seemed odd to me. So they will be getting this in stages. So they have to create 500 jobs, full-time jobs, within 180 days prior to the economic development payment. They will get $1,250,000 for the first 500 jobs. Then they will get $312,500 for 125 jobs if they do that by December 31st, 2031. And then they will get $312,000 for the next 125 jobs if they fulfill those jobs by December 31st, 2036. She's confused. I know. This is crazy. I don't understand this at all.
It's just,
I mean, basically, they're going to get so much money if they make 500 jobs by a certain date, then so much money if they get 125 jobs, and then another installment if they hire another 125 people.
doesn't this go against the free market system?
Yes, it does. We've gone over that.
Yeah,
times.
I feel like we're broken records at this point.
Yes, I mean, that's why I bring this up over and over again, because it is against the free market. It's infuriating to me because small businesses don't get this. Okay? And this is a massive company. This is not a little mom and pop shop that wants to open up and sell yarn. Okay? I just picked that out of the top of my head. This is a massive, massive international company.
Yeah, hey, they only do it for the big multi-million-dollar companies.
Yes, I have yet to see an economic development deal where the company is not some kind of mega company or has a parent company that is a mega company. And they are doing things that are just not something a small business can do. You know, I know a person, he's a doctor, and he is trying to move his office from Las Colinas to Plano. He is not asking for any economic development.
Not that they would give it.
He's going to be renting an office. He's going to be actually bringing 3 employees over from the old office. So this would be a transfer of 3 employees, and one of those employees actually wants to move to Plano.
No, don't you get it? It's too small. It's only 3 employees, 1 person moving to Plano. It's such a small business. They don't care.
Exactly. Not that he would even ask for the money, but he'd never qualify. Okay? Never qualify. And on top of that, the landlord of the place he's moving into is making renovations and paying for the renovations. So they are making the value of the building more money. So this is a net win for Plano, yet this guy would never qualify for economic development. He's too small. Only the large companies, and this is a very large company, would have the, here's a Yiddish word for you, chutzpah, to do this.
Okay. You just shouted that out.
I did. I shouted that out. So let me tell you a little bit about the parent company, because I couldn't find anything about the actual company. They sell supplies and equipment for beauty parlors. Also provides beauty products for hair, skin, and nails. They are international, and they specialize in retail and distribution of beauty products and supplies. They are a public company, and as of March 7th, their stock traded at $9.31 a share. I know it's not a very large stock, not like the other company we did. Okay. But oh my, that doesn't mean they are not a very well company. Their net worth, this is Sally Beauty Holdings, Inc. All right, we're talking about. Their net worth is $949.20 million. It's massive. It's almost $1 billion company.
Yeah.
Okay. Their revenues, $3.72 billion. Their net income, $176.4 million.
Oh my gosh.
Total cash, $105.53 million.
They ain't hurting.
No, they're not hurting. CEOs, total compensation is $7.53 million, rounded.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Now that's her total compensation package, which is made up of her salary.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is a female. Made up of a salary of $1.183 million.
Wow.
Almost $2 million, if you know. Well, not really.
It's still a lot.
A lot of money. Over $1 million. And then she got a bonus.
Oh.
She got a bonus of $1.565 million. And she got stock awards of $4.776 million.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a company we need to give money to.
Yeah. This is... It infuriates me. My eyes want to bleed. My head wants to explode. At just the waste. I'm sorry. This to me, while we've gone over, this is interfering with the free market. Companies really, this is not the end-all be-all of why they move to a place. You know, we've talked about the fact that this is the brainchild of Mussolini. What else could we use this money for? It's a waste of money. I may, and that's a big may be able to get on board if they wanted to actually give economic development to the small business guy or gal. And that's a maybe, because even then, you're meddling with the free market.
It's still wrong.
But I may, and again, it's a big may, be able to be okay with it if we went for the small mom and pop guy.
Like, you might have an argument there, but there's really no argument. Other than, oh, but having them in Plano would be such a big thing for Plano. Like,
and these 750 jobs over 11 years, and then you got to give the money in stages. I mean, are they going to like put the $2 million aside to make, like in a separate fund to make sure that they know that that's what they have to, the increments, and every time they hit the number of jobs, they have to dole it out? I hope that's an interest-bearing account if that's how they do it. Seems such a waste. What else could we do with that money? There's over $42 million in the Economic Development Fund.
I think you went over that before.
How many firefighters could that get us? How many policemen could that get us? Or policewomen? Or city staffers? Or
There's
a roof on one of the libraries? I mean, it's just...
There's a lot.
We take out debt for some of these things.
But the money's right there, being given to companies who don't need it.
Oh, and I looked at the consent agenda because, they don't put it on the regular agenda. No. They put it on the consent agenda. It doesn't even say, header economic development. No. Well, now they're not even like having it like out there.
I guess I know people are upset about it.
For everyone to see. So you got to read through all of those, and I had to read it, and there it is, transfer of money. It doesn't even say how much. It didn't even say any details.
That just says to me that they know they're doing wrong.
Yeah. You have to go and you have to click on that line item. Then that takes you to a page. You read that page, and then if you actually want to see the agreement, you got to click on the agreement. So it's not like it's out in the open. You got to do some digging. Yes, it's 3 steps, but to me, that's not right. That's underhanded. This needs to be on the regular agenda. It needs to be spelled out exactly what's going on here.
They don't want to do that because they know they're doing something wrong and people aren't going to like it, and they don't want to deal with the backlash.
Of course not.
They know. They know what they're doing.
Exactly. If this irritates you just as much as it irritates me, please go to City Council and tell them so. The agenda does come out 4 days or so, usually Wednesday or Thursday before the City Council meetings. Now, that's not a heck of a lot of time to get the word out. It's not a lot of time for us to get the word out, clearly. So we usually end up telling y'all what happened after the fact. But it can be done. You can tell your friends and your neighbors what's going on beforehand and march yourselves up there and say, enough of this. Moving on to our next topic, which is our bad bill of the week. So we're going to move over to the state Texas House.
Oh boy, the last bill nearly destroyed me.
This is a much simpler bill to understand.
Okay.
All right? It's a short bill.
It wasn't just that it was difficult to understand, it was so stupid. My brain couldn't wrap my head around it.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't call this a smart bill. But I will say it's only one, two, 2 pages long. I'm not including the third page when it says it'll be come to an effect. So it's only 2 pages. So the author gets points for shortness, but loses the rest of the points because it's so bad. It is from our very own representative in HD 70 here in Collin County.
Uh-oh.
Yes, Pleza, Representative Pleza. This is HB 2099. That is House Bill 2099, and you can go and look that up for yourself, folks, or I will have a link to it on our website, planospoliticalpitbull.com, right under this podcast episode. So the bill is a tax on commercial electric vehicle charging services based on the amount of electricity transferred. So, you know, when you go to a gas station, you buy gas and you pump gas in your car, there's a tax on the gas that you have just bought.
Right, like everything else.
Like everything else.
We tax the life out of you.
Yes. It's called a gas tax. You could basically call this a electricity tax for specifically commercial vehicles. So there are these now, I don't know how far these can get, but now we have trucks that are electric. All the Democrats out there, this is a big thing for them. They want to go electric. Any Republicans out there that are very green, all this electric. Little inside information, guys. I think they don't realize where electricity comes from.
It's actually causes more pollution than gasoline.
Comes from coal. Okay?
And then the batteries, the lithium, do you know what they do to the bad ones, or like the ones that go in the trash?
Yeah. You can't throw these out. Okay?
Let's just say sometimes they don't dispose of it correctly and cause radiation poisoning.
Well, that's if you don't dispose of it correctly. Actually, there's been some studies that show that over the life of the vehicle, an electric car causes more pollution or CO2 emissions than the gas car over the life of the two vehicles.
Because you have to mine the coal, then you have to process the coal, you have to make the battery, which is in a factory, which causes CO2 emissions. Then you have to make the car.
I think we need to understand that the car doesn't just magically appear in the showroom. All right? It's got to be made, and then get to the showroom.
Which is probably using a car that uses gas.
Or a ship that uses fuel of some kind. But we digress. Let's put the environmental factors aside for a moment and get back to the bill at hand. So she wants to impose a tax on each commercial charging service. The charging provider is liable for and shall collect the tax from the purchaser of the commercial charging services. So we've got a truck. It's an electric truck. They're transporting some kind of good. Let's, for argument's sake, it's vegetables. All right? I'm just making this up, throwing that out there. Pick your favorite consumer good of your choice. And the truck has got to stop and fill up, or in this case, charge. The truck driver has to pay now a tax, an additional tax for the charge. What do you think's going to happen?
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Okay. So she says here in the bill, actually, the amount of the tax shall be added to the selling price of the commercial charging service so that the tax is ultimately paid by the person consuming the electricity transferred.
Oh, it's like landlords and renting.
Representative from HD70, perhaps you do not understand basic economics, but no, ma'am, I'm sorry. The person consuming the electricity that is going to be transferred is not the one that's going to be actually paying the tax. No. Yes, he will pay the tax up front, but then they will charge the person who is actually paying for the goods that was transported. They will pass that tax along, making the goods more expensive because nobody's going to eat that into their profit margins,
And then
especially a truck driver.
And then it trickles down to the regular consumer at the store.
Mm-hmm.
Because the store owner has to pay more money for the good because of the shipping. And
Yes.
then the consumer has to pay more because the store owner had to.
Right. And let's take everybody's favorite website, Amazon. Amazon has electric trucks now. That is a commercial vehicle. So now to get something shipped on Amazon is going to cost you more in shipping to get it delivered to your house. Because Amazon isn't going to eat that. But there's more. Would you like to know what the tax rate's going to be?
You're going to tell me anyway.
I am going to tell you anyway. So the tax rate. The rate of the tax imposed by this chapter is 0.026 cents per kilowatt hour of electricity transferred in a commercial charging service. Now, here's the kicker. And I don't know if she actually looked this up or not, but there's already a tax on charging stations or charge on the electricity that you get to charge your vehicle. The tax is a combined excise tax and surtax fee of 3 cents per kilowatt hour at a public charging station.
So you're double taxing them.
Yes. So if they go to a public charging station, they're going to have to pay the 3 cents plus the 0.026 cents. And where do you suppose she wants to put this money, this extra money that that the comptroller is going to be getting?
Somewhere stupid, probably.
Well, I don't know if it's not smart, but the proceeds from the collection of the tax imposed under this chapter will go to the State Highway Fund, which already gets money from our gas tax and from the electric,
I guess it fits.
Yes, it does fit, but it's going to be at a cost to the consumer. It's going to make everything that is transported by an electric vehicle more expensive.
If there's already a tax, why does she want to make another tax?
So the 3 cents is on all public charging stations. This is just for commercial charging services.
Why are you double taxing the commercial?
Because she apparently thinks that these big, bad, greedy truckers.
Oh, yeah. Truckers are certainly big, bad, and greedy.
Like,
what?
Yeah, these big, mean, greedy truckers are not paying their fair share. And so she thinks she's going to stick it to them. First of all, I must say, most trucks are owned and independently run by the truck driver. So
yeah, they're just trying to make a living.
She's hurting the small business trucker, one. Then she's going to be hurting the business owner who gets the goods. And then she's going to be hurting the consumer who buys the goods, because it's just going to be that tax is just going to be passed right along down the chain. Nobody is going to eat this
Except
for the actual consumer at the final point of sale.
Thank you. You've raised up the prices once again. As if inflation wasn't already doing that.
It's like you want these electric vehicles because you think they're going to be better than sliced bread and the be all and end all and save the planet, which there's debate on that. But let's say you're right. Now you're going to penalize them because they're using the technology you are promoting. And then in the end, you're really penalizing the consumer. And you know who this is going to hurt even more? It's not going to affect the very rich. It's going to affect the poor person who has to pay more for an apple or eggs. And at this rate, eggs, the poor chickens and the eggs, I mean, you know.
Eggs are already expensive.
It's already expensive. So you're just adding to that, and you're just hurting the low-income person who's having enough time buying products, buying goods that they need. And this is why it is a bad bill. So please, anyone, if you are in HD70, please reach out to your rep, who is the author of this bill, and tell her to throw this bill where it belongs, into the garbage. And if you're not in HD70, please notify your reps and let them know that this bill has been filed and may be coming to a committee near them. And God help us if it actually gets to the floor. But if it does, tell them to vote no. That is your bad bill of the week.
But also, explain why it's bad. Don't just, say it's bad, because that's not going to get you anywhere.
Yes, I always say, do your own homework. Go read the bill. We will have a link to it on our website, plainspoliticalpitbull.com, and you can read it for yourself. It is 2 pages long, folks. It is not complicated.
It is one of the shortest bills you'll ever read.
Well,
I said one of.
One of, yes. It is. For a bill, it is one of the shortest. And it's not complicated. It's easy to understand. Moving back to Plano. So I have some good news. The old Fry's building will not be torn down.
Okay.
P&Z on March 3rd waived the 2-year waiting period for consideration to rezone the property at Plano Parkway and Executive Drive. So let me remind you, because I have a feeling Ruth here has forgotten.
I don't know. Yeah, I have.
We have been over this property before. This property has had some problems. So this was an Fry's building that is on the property currently. It was the home of Fry's Electronics, very popular electronics retailer.
Oh.
Well, they closed. So the building has sat empty for a few years now. And it's just been waiting there to see, hey, is somebody going to come and, lease me? Well, nobody was coming. So the owner decided that he wanted to rezone the property. He was going to knock down the Fry's building because he figured nobody wanted to lease it. So he's going to knock it down, and he wanted to build a hotel, an office building, and yes, apartments.
I think it's coming back to me.
Yes. There is no grocery store near this, but everybody was so excited because it was within walking distance of the train station over by George W. Bush. I disagree. Nothing is within walking distance when it's 100 degrees outside. It was about a good walk, too. It wasn't like it was around the corner. Pretty much, it's right off of George W. Bush. They had to put in a thing for the filters because it was going to have a lot of pollution. And you were going to put apartment buildings right there. So he got the rezoning. It took a while, but he finally got the rezoning, and that all passed. And what did the owner of the property do? Put the for sale sign out on the property. Now, he figures he could sell the property at a better value because now it's zoned for multi-use. Well, thankfully, nobody was buying. And somebody has come along and has said, I can use this building. I want to use this building as a warehouse space for small businesses. But now it is no longer zoned for a warehouse.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's no longer zoned for even if somebody wanted to move in and use it as a Costco's. It's no longer zoned for that. So the staff said, well, we're going to have to rezone it again. But there's a 2-year waiting period. However, lucky for us, there's always a loophole. So they went back and they asked for the waiver. And they got the waiver. So this will be coming back to P&Z as to rezone for a warehouse space. And yay, no apartments will be built.
I love how they went through all of that only to be proven that it was unnecessary.
Exactly. Only to be proven that, yes, you can use the actual building that is still there, standing. I wonder how much that actually costs the landowner, the property owner. Because it's not free to rezone. It costs him a fee.
Well,
plus the designs he had to come up with, and that tickles me a little bit, just a little bit. Lastly, we have comments of public interest. They've been having a little fun with comments of public interest. We went over this last week. It's been quite getting more ridiculous as time goes on. But just to summarize, for those who may not remember, when the city council moved to Davis Library because City Hall was going to be under construction, they went to comments of public interest to be on Zoom. And at the end of the meeting, came back to the city hall. Renovations were done. Doesn't look like much renovations were done to me, but okay, fine. Renovations were done. They came back, and the mayor wanted to keep comments of public interest via Zoom until he could get, quote unquote, the technology right. But somehow the technology was fine when you spoke on an agenda item. That you can do in person, but you had to go home or get on Zoom, or last go around you had to get on a computer in the same freaking building of city council just to speak on comments of public interest. If you missed this portion last week, please go back and watch the last episode. For full details, you will laugh. So, I guess Shelby Williams and Casey Prince, esteemed council members, they were like, okay, we've had enough. It's ridiculous. So on the March 4th preliminary meeting of City Council, they discussed moving comments of public interest back to in-person and at the beginning of the meeting.
Yay! They listened.
Well, to listen. So
to listen, it's still good.
It's still good, yes. The discussion was as follows. Prince, pretty much, she said we don't have a legitimate reason anymore as to why people cannot come in and speak to council. The same thing with Councilman Williams. This is getting ridiculous. Councilwoman 2, when is this woman up for re-election? She's starting to drive me crazy.
Yes, it's an attack against you, of course.
No, I know it's not against me personally, but she's starting to drive me crazy. She just seems to be on the wrong side of everything. Every dang issue. She agreed with Prince that it was time to bring it back in person.
But at the end, right?
Yes. Oh, but wait, not even at the end, at first. She said that she wanted to table it until the new council members who are getting elected in May come in and they can determine where to put it.
Isn't this her last term? Isn't she termed out?
She's not up for election this she will be part of the quote unquote new council.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really a new council because you're keeping four places are up for election. 3 are only going to be replaced because they're termed out.
So here's where I was going with that. Mm-hmm. I thought it was like she doesn't want to deal with comments of public interest, so she wanted to table it until basically she was gone, and then they could reinstate her or whatever because she doesn't want to deal with it. Yeah. But that theory goes out the window now.
Yeah. No, it wasn't even...
She's just trying to stall.
Yes, she's trying to stall because it's not... You can't call it a new council if 3 people are leaving and 3 new people are coming in. You still have 5 of the current people. So to call it a new council is ludicrous. And nobody called her out on that. I would have been like, wait a minute, new council, let me see, Shelby's still going to be there, and you're still going to be there, Miss 2, and the mayor's still going to be there because he's running unopposed, and Homer's still going to be there, and Horn will still be there. What part of this is a new council? 3 does not make a new council. If we got rid of all of you and put all new people in, that would be a new council.
It's a soft reboot.
Believe it or not, Councilman Horn agreed with her. She said he wants to put it back in person, but wants to let the new members vote on when it is. So you're gonna abstain from the vote, Councilman Horn, because there's only gonna be 3 new ones?
Why? Wait. Why don't they want to touch this? Why do they want the new people to vote on this?
I think the excuse, which I didn't even write this down because I thought it was such BS. The excuse was they wanted to give deference to the new members or the new council, quote unquote. I think you're right. I think they just wanted to just stall this. They were just kind of like, we just want to stall this, because I also think that maybe they knew or felt they knew which way the 3 current seated members who are still there were going to vote. So maybe they figured they could win them over, win these new, very green, naive council members over and to their dark side.
This isn't Star Wars.
I got news for you. Some of them know about what's going on, and they would have voted to bring it back to the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well backfire. Like, what's the goal here?
So Smith also agreed with Horn, which I don't understand. I tell you, Councilman Smith has really become a disappointment. Really has.
Don't they all eventually?
Yeah, pretty much. Anthony agreed with Councilman Shelby and Prince. He wanted it to come back
In person.
in person. He said, well, he would like to decide for himself, but he said he encourages the new council to put it at the beginning of the meeting.
I guess he felt he wasn't winning that argument.
I guess not. The interesting fact is that Mayor Munns, he claimed the reason why he put it at the end of the meeting was because of some of the antics that were going on that he felt were inappropriate, and sometimes they have the kids come in and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And he was like, well, sometimes it's not PG.
So kick them out.
Okay, the kids don't stay.
Also, again, you can kick them out if they're being inappropriate, because, yeah, this is on cable TV. Anyone can watch it. So some of the stuff is quite inappropriate. And, yeah, maybe kids are present. You can kick them out. If they're not following the rules, like, say, you can't have any inappropriate things going on.
It's got to be G-rated.
Yeah. It has to be G-rated. Make that a rule. And if they don't follow that rule, kick them out. You're in your right to do that.
The kids don't stay. The argument he's making is not even an argument, because they do the consent agenda first. Then they do comments of public interest. The kids say the Pledge of Allegiance. Actually, that's not even correct. The kids come in, they say the Pledge of Allegiance. Then the mayor gets up and he has all these proclamations, which could eat up 10, 15 minutes of fluff. Oh, we're going to commemorate this day as Red Riding Hood Day. Some of the most ridiculous things, and some of them are very nice, very heartwarming, giving an award to a fireman who went above and beyond. Some of them are nice. But they eat up 15, 10 minutes, sometimes more of time, depending on how many and what kind they are.
Kids are gone.
The kids are gone. The kids get up and they leave. And then they do the consent agenda. And then they have comments of public interest. And by the way, you can put, you know who he is. You can put Alex Stein at the end because he is not a Plano resident.
Yeah, you can put Plano residents first, and then whoever else wants to go last. I mean, Plano residents should come first.
Exactly. So the argument is ridiculous. The kids aren't even there. Councilman Williams, he was obviously in favor of putting it back in person, and he said, we are just putting it back the way we found it. When we found it, it was in person at the beginning of the meeting, and we are just putting it back the way we found it because some of the new guys, they are not going to know the history of why it was moved to begin with to the end of the meeting. And it may not be of any consequence to them. They actually had a vote. Maria, too, actually fought this. She said, there's a reason. She would not mention his name, but she said, there is a reason why it's at the end, and I think it needs to be at the end, and it's a valid reason.
Because my feelings were hurt.
No, Miss Two, it's not a valid reason. You're chilling the law. You're chilling the right for people to come and speak in front of you. I mean, you're there sometimes until 11 o'clock at night. One time they had an 8-hour city council meeting.
I think we've established she does not care what the people think.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't care about the people.
She doesn't.
She needs to get out of there.
So, actually, it went up for a vote, which I was happy to see. I don't know who made the motion.
They're not going to... Are they going
to... Live in person at the beginning, passed 5-3, with Munns, Chu, and Horn as the 3 voting no. Even Rick, who originally said, I'll leave it up to the next council, he voted to move it to the beginning. Okay. Now, the city manager asked about Zoom.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are they going to get rid of that, or are they going to leave that as an option?
No, they're going to leave it as he asked about Zoom, and the council agreed. We'll leave it as an option.
Good.
Okay, that was good. That was good.
Yay!
Folks, your right to petition your government for a redress of grievances is back to the beginning of the meeting, and I must say, the irony of this all is Mayor Munns was so worried about the children. They only had the consent agenda. So they did a proclamation, and then they had the consent agenda, and then they had nothing else. So, of course, comments of public interest was next.
So it didn't matter.
Guess what happened?
What?
The kids had left. The kids were gone. I saw them on video. I saw them walk out. And I would have went, there, the kids left.
They're gone home. How late is the meeting usually? Like, I want to see
it starts at 7.
Okay, they went home to go to sleep.
Exactly.
Bedtime.
Lastly, we have our VID. Very important dog. Spot is still up for adoption.
Oh, come on. He's such a good boy.
He is a good boy. And it even says in his bio, Spot is such a good boy. He is very obedient and so smart. Spot knows the command sit, stay, and down. He rides well in the car and loves to look out the window on the drive. Spot went on a group walk and got along with all the other dogs. He's very friendly and likes head rubs. Spot showed no prey drive along the walk when encountering squirrels and birds. He was interested in all passing bikers and walkers. Spot is about 4 years of age and likes belly rubs. And if you are interested in getting to know more about Spot, please go to our website, planospoliticalpitbull.com, and click on the button Pit Bulls for Adoption. That is all the time we have for today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our show. Help us with the algorithms, please. This is Esther.
And this is Ruth.
For Plano's Political Pitbulls, signing off.